Debbie here, aka Veil the Stitcher. It has been a very long time since my last video. It's been over a year, I think, but you know, here we are. I've been cross-stitching all the time, and I really would like to share it again. So, I'm not going to go through everything I've done in the last year, but I'm just going to go through the things I've done most recently or most notably, and then discuss some plans, and then at the very end I will give a brief life update of all the crazy things that have happened in the last year, including, we'll get there. So, to start off with, I've been very into Halloween stitching this month, but we have other things to go through before then. The first thing I would like to show is Night Walked Down. Hold on. Don't know what I'm doing. That's fine. We have Night Walked Down by the Blue Flower. And I started this before this year, and I finally picked it up again and made some good progress. Ooh. So, before I had the woman and the cat and a little bit of these flowers. And since then, I basically spent a week or more and just kept going on it straight through, and really enjoying the progress. This is on 40 count truffle. I think it's 40 count truffle. No, by Picture This Plus, and I'm stitching one thread of floss over 2 fabric threads, and I'm using most of the DMC conversion with just a few colors that were called for. Like I definitely picked the color of her dress as called for, as well as the vine color, I think, but everything else I just picked from stash. I would love to finish that this year, but I haven't really been feeling it lately, so I don't know if it's going to happen before the end of the year, but it's definitely on my list to finish soon. This whole year I've kind of been in a mood of like wanting to finish the things I have versus starting new things. So I think almost everything I'm going to show were started before this year. So the next one I'm going to show you is Gypsy Queen by Mirabilia. This is my first Mirabilia, and I have been enjoying every stitch. This was also started not this year. I think it was started last year, and I don't know if I've ever shown it in a previous video, but here we have her. All of the cross stitch, all of the regular DMC cross stitch in her dress is finished, as well as the pedestal she's sitting on, and the cross stitches in her hair and the leaves and stuff, those are all done also. And then I was starting to work on the Karen water lilies in her hair, but the next time I pick this up, I think I'm going to work on her skin. You know, it's funny, a lot of people like to do the skin and face first, and I'm doing it kind of last. And I'm not going to be doing it 1/1 like I see a lot of people do. I'm going to be doing it as called for, 2/2. And I think I'm going to do that next before I finish up the Karen water lilies and the beading and stuff. I think I'm going to do her skin next. So, need to get working on that. I would love to finish her because, of course, I have like 9 more Mirabilias ready to go. One of them's fully kitted, too. So there's that. And then, the next one I'm going to show you is a full coverage, which I did start this year. So let me find it here. It's basically a girl sitting in a field holding a black cat, and there is a scarecrow behind her, and the sky is like yellow and orangey near the horizon, and then it turns like almost like a greenish teal color. Sorry, I thought I'd try again, you know, get something different even though it's not doing anything different. So I've basically got a page done on this. Top left corner, of course. I have some ninja stitches that I haven't stitched in yet because I don't have all the colors for this. I've just been pulling from my stash as they come. And I also got a new kitten around the time that I started this, so it was very difficult to stitch for a while. So I've got the top left corner done, and then the down here is the start of her head, and right here is the part of her hair on the top. So I will try and get a image of it another time. Ah! Gosh, what the heck? Here we go. There. Sorry for the glare. There she is. She's holding a cat. Oh, she's got black wings and everything. So the mock-up, that's the mock-up too. The mock-up looked really good, and it's a mini, and it's my first mini, so really excited about that. It's coming out really well. The next one I want to show, if the 3 lines will work, is my very first and long time HAED, which is called Ex Machina by Chris Ortega. I've been working on this since 2019, and I'm still in love with it this many years later. I typically get a really big push on it the first quarter of the year, and then I lose steam and work on other things. And this year in particular, I've been out of town a lot and traveling, and I just don't really like to do full coverage while I'm doing that. And also I've had a new kitten since June 29th, and only in the last 2 weeks have I been able to cross stitch without her trying to eat my needle. So let's see what we can do here. Here she is. So just let you look at that for a minute. Oh, I wonder if I can say, come on. Okay. Let's see what my percent is. I am at 61.29%. I have stitched 173,207 stitches out of 282,600. So I'm almost coming up on the marker of only having 100K left, and that was going to be the next thing I was going to try and do before the end of the year. But it is now October, and I'm probably not going to work on it this month. Maybe in November, most likely in December, because December's my birth month, and I typically like working on this around then. So let's just get in here a little. You know, some people might get tired of the browns, but honestly, it's so calming. I've never gotten tired of any color in this piece. And I think most recently, I've been stitching here. So I think I've done most of this. And even on up to here, because the last time, at the beginning of the year, I only had this top page over here, and all down here wasn't stitched yet. So I've been working on that side, bringing it down to match the other side. And she looks so good. So super, I love it. I love her. And she's held up really well. This is 22 count hardanger, 2 threads over 1 square. And honestly, I love working with 2 strands. I feel like I stitch faster that way. Stitching with 1 strand is more, it feels more delicate to me, and I usually use a size 28 for that. But when I'm doing, when I'm using 2 strands, I typically stitch with a size 26, and I feel like I can be a little more rough, a little faster. So before I get into what I'm currently working on right now and what I'm planning to work on next week, and sorry I keep looking up here instead of over there, I'll get more used to it the more I do this. I wanted to show you something that I worked on quite a lot over the summer. I was visiting my mom for about 6 weeks to help her with some medical issues, and I brought some of the Garden Club series from Blackbird Designs, and I picked out, I have 11 out of 12 of these, and I picked out my 4 favorites to make a square. And I cannot think of her name. There's a longtime Flosstuber. I can see her face. I just watched a video by her, but I cannot think of her name. She lives in the Northwest. That doesn't make a difference. Okay, anyway. I saw that she had stitched these all on one piece of fabric, and she had taken the ones that were stitched separately and then stitched together to make a square. She had separated those in her grid, and I loved the way that looked. And so I stitched this on 46 count natural linen, which I got from Hobby Lobby. It was one of their newer fabrics that they put in stock, I think, early this summer. I heard about it from Stitching Mommy. Had to go get some. So this is 46 count. I stitched 1 strand of floss over 2 fabric threads, and I used all of the called for Gentle Arts, and I loved every stitch of this. I stitched this in hand, which kind of lended to the delicateness of it, and I loved every stitch of this. I added my mom's initial to kind of commemorate my time with her this summer, and then I signed it down here with my initials, and then I put the date over here for the year. Most of the places where it called for satin stitches, I just did regular stitch. I did the satin stitches here, but anywhere else it called for satin stitches. Like all that empty space in here was supposed to be satin stitches, and I just left them out. I thought it looked fine the way it was. I did do all of the Smyrna crosses where they were called for, and the eyelets, which were very few. But yeah, I love this so much. It hangs up on my wall over here in my bedroom. So I would kind of like to do another set of 4 in the exact same fabric, in this exact same frame, and then maybe do the final 4 and just have them in like groups like that. This frame is just a super simple one from Hobby Lobby. The stitched area came out to be exactly 6 inches square, and so this is an 8x8 frame, and I got it from Hobby Lobby 50% off, and so I think it was originally $8 to $10, and I got it for $4 to $5, so pretty good. And then if you can see here, I just stuck it in here, but you know, whatever works. You can't see it. You can't see that from this side. Okay, so what I've been working on over the last 2 weeks has been, let's see if I can do this without the glare, Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow by Carotel Samplings, right? Yeah. And I started this, not this year, I think it was 2 years ago, and I started with the middle double block. And I'm using the DMC for this, and when I first started, I wasn't too pleased with how the orange looked. I thought it was too bright. It wasn't as grungy as it needed to be, and that kind of put me off working on it. But this year, I pulled it back out and I kept stitching. I told myself that I would finish that big block, and then if I still didn't like it, I would stop working on it. But I actually did fall in love with it. So currently, this is what it looks like. So I finished that block. Sorry, let me get oriented here. I finished that block, and then I started working on the block above it, which I believe is block 2. And I wanted to do the middle block first so that I could stitch whichever block I felt like stitching. And you may notice that in the pattern, each block is separated by some empty space. And I decided to remove that space and have them all hugging each other with just one stitched square of black. So I've been really enjoying this. This has been really hitting the spot for me for Halloween and just autumn in general. And my goal is to finish the block I'm working on before I set it down. So this coming week, I'm going to be giving this piece 3 days to hopefully finish that block. And then I'm going to have a new start. By doing Boo to You by the Prairie Schooler. And my plan for this is to do them in a square. I'm going to do 3 up top, 3 on the bottom, 1 in the middle end, and the other in the middle other end. And then I might do something in the empty space in the middle. I'm not sure. But I wanted to do this on one piece because I had done, don't remember what it's called. There's another, it's over there, and I can't get to it. But anyway, I've done one of the other pieces that had 9 of these, and I really liked how it came out on one piece of fabric, and so I want to do the same with this one. So I'm going to start this. I'm just going to pull fabric from my stash. A lot of times I swap out Prairie Schooler threads for threads that I like a little bit better. So I may do that here, depending, but I will determine that when I do it. I would like to do this on like a 32 count or a 28 count so I can use two threads of floss, but we'll see. You'll see that hopefully next week. So I'm going to put 3 days on this, which leaves me 1 day of the week, and on that one day I'm going to, you can see behind me, it's just a mess. I'm going to put in 1 day on my Gypsy Queen to kind of breathe some life back into her and hopefully give myself the motivation to try and maybe finish her this year. I would love that. So I'll get started on her skin, and I bet that's going to encourage me to want to at least finish all the skin in one go. So I will probably do this the very last day of the 7-day week, and then maybe add it into my rotation or my plans for the following week and get some good progress on that. However, I am going to be doing a 30-minute a day project in addition to all of those, because I've been making Mill Hill projects for my mom, and I'm currently working on this guy. He is the Merry Christmas Santa, and this is MH20-4301, and I've already made a start. I was stitching on this when I decided I actually needed to be doing Halloween stitching instead of Christmas stitching right now. But these usually stitch up pretty quick in like 3 to 4 days, depending on how much time I have. I can usually knock these out. So these are really fun to do. This Mill Hill is what introduced me to beading with cross stitch, and I loved it so much. So I cannot wait to do beading on my Mirabilia. So that'll be my 30-minute a day project, and we'll see how far we get. We'll see how far we get in 7 days. So before I move on to a very brief life update, I did want to show some haul that I've recently purchased, which I don't buy a lot of things lately, and these items were things that I had been looking at for a long time. So I'm torn because I picked out. This is Cottage Garden Samplings, and I've had my eye on this for a couple of years now, and so I purchased everything as is, everything called for, and this was actually something I was gonna start at the beginning of October, and then I just never did, and now I'm just like, do I want to start something new that I'm probably not gonna finish? Or do I want to work on something I currently have going and then do something simpler? Because the Prairie Schooler stuff is way simpler. The chart's super easy to read. Like, I don't have to be working through all of this. It's just major block stitching. But it is on, I haven't stitched on this color before, and I love it. This is on Ancient Newcastle 40 count by Picture This Plus, and look at that. Yeah, that's pretty true to color. If maybe slightly washed out, it might be it's a little more like yellowy, a little more tan. But yeah, and as you can see, I mean, being on 40 count, 1 strand over 2, like it's not going to be that big. Let's see if it gives a dimensions. So the stitch count is 100 by 130, and on 40 count, it's going to be 5 inches by 6.5 inches. So I could probably put that in an 8 by 10 frame. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. It's mostly DMC with just a few. I think it has 2. It has 2 Gentle Arts, Raven, and Tin Bucket. So I would love to start that. Not sure if I'm going to do that this year. And then the other one, which I've been coveting, is the Blue Flower Moonlight Sampler. I've seen some people stitch this, and I will definitely start this once I finish Night Walk Down. I haven't kitted it up or anything. I just have the pattern. I don't know if you can hear my kitten meowing outside the door, but yeah. So that's it. That's everything that I wanted to show regarding stitching. Hopefully I will be back in a week to share my progress and keep progressing. So at the very end of the video, I'll just give you a brief life update for those of you who've been like hanging out with me for a little bit. First of all, the last time I saw you, it was like just the beginning of October 2021, I think. And I will just do very brief update. Work-wise, I've been totally leaning into like building my career and trying to make more money. So I work in project management in higher education. I basically support academic research, and so I studied and took an exam for my project management professional designation through the Project Management Institute, and I passed that last November, and that was just huge. You get to add those, letters after your name, as being like more legit. So that was really exciting. And then I immediately started studying for grad school for the entrance exam. I wanted to get into business school. And so I didn't need to do the GMAT. I could have done the GRE, but I wanted to do the GMAT. And so I only had 2.5 months to study. And so I was studying the GMAT and basically killed my brain. And when I took the test, I got like a super mediocre score. I think it was like a 540. And so I wasn't very pleased with that. The size limit reached. New video started. I don't know. I hope it didn't cut me off. We'll find out. So I took the GMAT, wasn't impressed. Took a practice GRE test, and that was way easier. So the studying I did for the GMAT, I applied to the GRE, and I took the GRE 2 weeks after my GMAT test, and I got a good score. I cannot remember what it is now. I mean, it wasn't a great score. I think it was a 309 or a 311 composite. I don't know. So anyway, a few weeks after that, I received my acceptance letter that I had gotten into grad school. And the program I'm going after is a Master's of Science in Business Analytics, and it's through a pretty good business school. And I am taking a program that is geared towards working professionals. So it's set up, you work through it as a cohort in one class, and you take each class one at a time for 5 weeks. So you have a concentrated 5-week class, 1 week break, concentrated 5-week class, and you do that for 18 months. And so I'm working full time, and I'm taking these super concentrated courses. A lot of the topics are things I've never learned before. Like, I never really got into statistics. I've just been like intuitively doing data analytics, and so this is giving me all of the like formal training for that. So I'm learning a lot, but it is not part-time. I'm basically going to work full-time and doing schoolwork full-time, and it's a lot. But I know it's where I'm supposed to be right now, and I'm really excited for the things to come once I'm done with this program. I am really looking to level up my position. Right now I'm on manager level, and I would like to get above that to a director level. So I need to make money, because right now, even with my salary as a project manager, I can't afford to live where I live. So there's that. Work-wise, things are going really well. Personal-wise, if you've watched any of my most recent videos from a year ago, you would have heard that like my mom was diagnosed with cancer, pancreatic cancer, and so the summer of 2021, she went through chemo, her first round of chemo. I think she had about 3 months of no cancer after that before she was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, meaning that the cancer had spread to her liver and her lymph nodes. And so she went back on chemo this summer, and I went and stayed with her for 6 weeks. Me and my sister kind of switched on and off to stay with her, to help her through it and just be there, She lives across the country from me, so I typically only see her like once a year anyway, and with the heavy weight of cancer hanging over everything, I wanted to spend the time with her. And so my work was super flexible, let me work remotely in order to be over there supporting her. So I did that for 6 weeks, and did some stitching. So this just has like my love for my mom like stitched all in here, and I look at it and I think of her, and so there was that. Um, her round of chemo just ended end of September, and the cancer's not gone. It basically did not progress, but it did not shrink at all. Therefore, the chemo is extending her life, but it's not curing her. So she needed a break from the heavy doses of chemo, and so right now she's on chemo pills to hopefully take some vacations and not feel as sick. So it is what it is. Other than that, the next thing is that my mom and stepdad live in Florida, and they just lost their home to Hurricane Ian, and they're still going through that process, and that has just been an insane blow. I mean, they're very fortunate, you know, they're gonna get through it just fine, but it's just the whole thing with Fort Myers Beach. If you've seen any of the footage or anything of the pier being gone, like just foundations left, it's like losing a family member, because that's where I would go to visit my parents and spend vacations there, and it's just all the memories that we had, like those places don't exist anymore, and it's just really surreal. But yeah, so that's happening. But we still truck on. I think there was one other thing I was going to mention. I wanted to end on a positive note. So, you know, it's October, and we have reached my favorite quarter of the year of October, November, December, because we have holidays coming up where I can take off work, and I've put up my Halloween decorations, and I wouldn't really call them Halloween decorations, they're just spooky decorations. And last year when I did that, I ended up not taking them down. So this year I basically just added to the spooky decor in my living room, which has just filled my heart. So super grateful for that. And then I never go anywhere unless I'm helping family out or doing something for family. And this weekend, I'm actually going somewhere that is for me. And we're going up north, and we're going to, because where I live in the high desert, and there isn't a fall season here. There's no changing leaves or anything like that. So we're going to go up north and experience fall, and we're going to take a ghost tour in a really old mining town. And we're just going to enjoy the change of scenery. So I am looking forward to that quite a bit. So yeah, so that's what I've been up to. A lot of work, a lot of family stuff, cross-stitching in between to keep me sane. And yeah, so that's my life update. Not going to show you the kitten right now just because I'm perched precariously with a lot of stuff around me, but her name is Evie, and she is now she's the little sister of my older cat, whose name is Esther. And they're both, Esther is like a dark tortoise shell, like very dark, and Evie is all black. And so far Evie is very angular, like she looks very Egyptian. I don't know her heritage or anything like that. I mean, I adopted her from a shelter, so maybe next time you'll get to see a cameo of her, or I might try and put a video in at the end so you can see her. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. It's been really good to catch up. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and hopefully I will look at the camera more instead of myself next time. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye! What are you gonna do, Esther? She's going after your tail.